my name's Blevin from Walker Scott, and in this series we'll be covering a wide range of look and feel and navigation within D365 Finance and Operations. In this session, I'll be covering search bars, sorting, and filtering. It should be noted that I'm using a standard Microsoft D365 Finance and Operations environment with Microsoft's Contoso demo data. Let's jump right in. First off, we're going to talk about search bars, and there are two different types of search bars. There is the search bar at the very top, which will allow you to search for pages within Dynamics. So for example, if I type in the word journal, then we will see a variety of navigation pages for journals. Now, the more specific you are with your text, the more likely you will find your results. So if I type in another word like fixed, it's going to come up with a variety of pages that have the term fixed in there. So this is a different way to navigating the system from your traditional way of navigating through modules and finding the forms you need through navigating the traditional way. Next up, we're going to talk about the action search bar. So if I navigate to all customers, for example, we will soon see that I'll have the action search bar available. Now, in this case, I'm in the customer grid, and from here I can search for example, tax. This provides two options that relate to customers in the action ribbon. So from here, I can create a tax invoice journal, and there are other actions that are available in the action search bar. Next, we're going to talk about sorting and filters. So first of all, we're going to talk about the default filter. So this is available on most grids and most forms where there is this filter box in the top left-hand corner. So in this example, I can type in, for example, Contoso, and it will pop up with a variety of filters that I can apply on the existing grid. Now, it just so happens that it's defaulted to name. However, I could change this to account, and I could then specify, for example, US.005, and I can choose to filter on account as opposed to name. Now, when that applies, you can see that it is filtered at the very high level on the account. If I clear that and hit enter, I'll be back with the original view of all customers displaying. So again, I can filter this on Contoso, and rather than account now, I want to search for this by name. Now, this does have its limitations, and there are other filters that can be applied which are a little bit more powerful. So in this example, I'm going to bring it back to all customers, and now I'm going to look at column filters. So within column filters, there's a few options. First of all, we can actually apply some basic sorting. So I can sort these customers from A to Z, and I can also sort from Z to A. Now, if you have some numeric values, the numeric values come before the A's from an A to Z, so it's numeric A to Z. And then if you're sorting from Z to A, then it will be Z to A followed by the numeric values. Now, that is the sorting from A to Z, basic on the name field. Now, in this example, I'm going to now sort the account from A to Z, which is what it was previously. Now I can apply some filters on the column heading. So I've selected the name heading for this particular column, and rather than using just the basic begins with, I can use more advanced filters like contains. So in this example, I am going to search for cave, click apply, and you can see that it's found this particular customer. I can clear that, and I can type in retail. Now, the benefit of this particular filter is that it applies all of those that contain the text retail in them, whether it's at the middle, whether it's at the end, or the start. So these are much more powerful filters. On top of that, then, we also have our filter option, which is show filters. If I click the show filters, which has a shortcut of Control F3, it will show any filters that have currently been applied. And you can actually add additional filters from here as well by clicking Add. Now, this also allows you to apply additional filters for things that are not just on the grid. So this does add another level of filters that can be applied. I'm going to hit Cancel, and I'm going to press the Show Filters button again. Now, if you want to reset your filters, you can do so either at the column heading, clicking Clear, or back on the Show Filters, we can reset the filters that are being applied by clicking Reset. In doing so, it'll clear all the filters and bring it back to our all list of customers there. The other option then for sorting and filtering is the advanced sorting and filtering. Now, this is available under Options. If I click on Options in the action ribbon, we will see we have the advanced filter or sort. Now, the benefit of an advanced filter or sorting is that you can apply multiple filters and multiple sorting at the same time, as well as adding additional tables. So not just the customer table, we can expand this to include other sorting and filtering options as well. You can also save these queries as well, which are really handy if you're using them all the time. So from a sorting perspective, this allows you to add multiple sorting, not just one level of sorting and filtering. There are also options for dates, and you can also have some table joins as well. So that is the advanced sorting and filtering. Now, there are some keyboard shortcuts, but we will be covering keyboard shortcuts in a separate session. Now, there is one last thing that I'll like to show is that there are some options where you can freeze columns. Now, in this example, I am able to freeze the customer group column, and that means if I had more fields across the page, then this column would be frozen. So I can minimize my session, and I can see that this particular column, if I'm navigating through the sets of data, you would be able to see that this column does in fact freeze with the pane. So you can see that as I move across, that customer group field is locked in and frozen. Now, you can also add additional columns to be frozen. So I can also freeze this column. And now you see I have customer group and name frozen as I move through this set of data. An additional thing that can be applied is you can group by columns. So I'm going to group by this customer group field. And what you'll see is that the data is now grouped into that particular subset of data. And this can be really useful when you're dealing with large volumes of records. So in this context, I have 14 records with a customer group of 10. I have 100 records, one record with a record with a group of customer group 100, 16 for 30, and 1 for 90. Now this can be really powerful as well if you add additional information or have some financial information. So I'm just going to quickly add a new column, and we will cover personalizations in a separate session, but I'm just going to quickly add the column credit limit. And when I do so, you will see that there will be some updated information on this particular grid. So if I expand, you can see there's a variety of credit limits that are applied for this customer group. And I'm just going to minimize the action ribbon to get a little bit more real estate on the page there. Now, one thing you can do as well is you can right click on this field, and you can also have totals that pop up. So what you will see is if I expand, for example, the 14, you can see that I've got a wide variety of credit limits. You can see that under this column, I have a view column totals. So for example, I may want to see what the average is for a particular group. So if I expand this, you can see that the average credit limit for customer group 10 is 278,000. Now, because there's only one record in customer group 100, you'll see that the average is the same. Whereas if I look for customer group 30, you can see that the average is 257,000. So this is really powerful group totals where you can also view the column totals as a maximum, as a minimum, or sum. So the sum is really useful as well, where you can see the sums of these particular groupings. So I can see that for customer group 30, I have $4.1 million in credit limits. And you can also see that if I sum up the total, where I have 32 rows, the total credit limit is 8.5 million. So there are some really powerful filters, and also you can apply column totals that give you a wide variety of information. Now, if these are popular queries that you use, you can save these as views, which we'll be covering in a separate session. So to recap the session, we've covered quite a lot. We've covered the different types of search bars. We've covered basic sorts and basic filtering. We've then covered more advanced sorts, more advanced filtering, and we've also covered the group by functionality, as well as the view totals and view averages functionality. Thank you.